She came to cook, but became the mother 6 lonely children had prayed for. This is not just a story, it's a gentle reminder that love often shows up where we least expect it. Before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? And if you find hope in stories like this, make sure to follow so you never miss one. The ranch sat alone on the dry western plains. From far away, it looked like part of the dusty land in the wide empty sky. Every sunrise promised the same things: work, quiet, and survival. That's all Thomas McAllister knew after his wife Margaret died. Each morning felt heavy. Each night felt cold. He raised his 6 daughters the best he could, honest and good, but his heart was locked away. Since Margaret died, he had turned into a man of few words and little warmth. The girls never said it out loud, but they felt it every day. Lily, only 12, became a mother to her sisters. She made sure they ate, washed, brushed their hair, and held back their tears when their father was near. June and Clara, the twins, learned to talk without speaking. Emily, who used to laugh all the time, now hid her laughter. Nora, the shy one, spoke so softly you could forget she was there. And little Grace, the youngest, still slept with her mother's old blanket, breathing in a scent that was long gone. Their house was neat, but it felt empty, like a clock without music. They had food, beds, and a roof, but it didn't feel like home anymore. One ordinary day, Thomas decided they needed help. Not a mother, his heart wasn't ready for that, but at least a cook, someone to make warm meals, better than dry bread and tough meat. He wrote a simple ad and pinned it up in town. Cook wanted, ranch with children, good pay, room and board. That was it. Then he went home and thought no more about it. That same afternoon, a woman named Caroline Tarner saw the ad. She was in her 30s with tired eyes but a kind face. Her husband had died in a mine 3 winters ago. They had tried for children but were never blessed with any. Since then, she had cooked in other people's houses, serving families that weren't hers. She never stayed long until she read that ad. Something about it pulled at her heart. She arrived at the ranch with one small bag, her favorite apron, and a folded apple bread recipe tucked in her Bible. Thomas opened the door and looked at her like he looked at the animals, quiet and guarded. He showed her the kitchen and told her the hours. Caroline didn't ask questions. She rolled up her sleeves, washed her hands, and got to work. The first morning, the girls tasted her food: warm bread, sweet jam, fresh milk. For the first time in so long, they felt warmth inside. Grace smiled without knowing why. Lily watched her closely but poured herself more milk. Thomas, who always ate standing, sat down that morning. Caroline cooked and listened. She didn't push. The girls told her things without knowing they were telling her. That Clara feared thunder, that June hid a stone under her pillow, that Emily tried to read her mother's old books. Caroline didn't ask for trust. She just stayed. For the girls, her quiet care felt new and safe. One afternoon, Grace fell and scraped her knee. This time she didn't run to Lily. She ran straight to Caroline. Caroline cleaned the cut, blew on it, and sang a soft song. Thomas watched through the window. Inside him, something old and stiff began to move, like a clock ticking again. Days turned to weeks. Seasons changed. The cold silence of the ranch slowly filled with new sounds. Laughter, humming in the kitchen, soft stories told over soup. The girls bloomed again, like flowers finding the sun after a long winter. Even Thomas changed. He stayed longer in the kitchen, asked if she needed anything, shared coffee after dinner. His eyes weren't so empty anymore. One night, as Caroline and Grace folded blankets on the porch, Grace asked in a small voice, "Could you be our mom?" Caroline brushed her hair gently and whispered, "I already love you like I am." Grace nodded, like she had just sealed a promise. But life wasn't always easy. One summer night, a storm rolled in. Lightning struck near the barn, setting the old wood on fire. Thomas ran to save the horses. Caroline ran inside for the girls. She gathered them under the kitchen table, wrapped her arms around them, covered their ears, and held them until the rain finally came to put out the fire. Thomas came back, soaked and tired. He saw Caroline holding his daughter safe in her arms. Something inside him broke open. That night he didn't sleep. He walked through the house, touching the walls, the dishes, the handkerchief Caroline had left on a chair. At dawn, he found her making coffee. He stood there for a long time and finally said, "This house would be nothing without you." Caroline looked at him but didn't speak. The words filled the room like a prayer. A few days later, as she was hanging clothes in the sun, Thomas came to her. He took her hands and asked her to stay, not as a cook, but as family, to be the mother of his daughters, to build a home again together. Caroline cried freely. "Yes," she said. They married simply, under the wide sky, with trees and horses as their witnesses. 6 girls in matching dresses laughed as they watched their family become whole again. There were no fancy speeches, just quiet promises and the soft knowing that they would never be alone again. Hope returned. The bread was always warm. The evenings were full of stories. The mornings began with singing in the kitchen. A broken family was made whole because a widow came to cook, but stayed to love. And so what started as a simple job became a home full of warm bread, soft laughter, and a love that healed old wounds. May this story remind you, sometimes the smallest acts bring the biggest miracles. If this touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Stay with us for more true stories that remind us all. No one is ever too lost to be found again. Until next time, may your days be warm and your heart always open to unexpected blessings.